Tell him Blanco sent you. The air was thick with tension as the black Sentra idled in the alley, headlights slicing through the night. Frank's fingers drummed a restless rhythm on the steering wheel, echoing the pounding of his heart. Blanco's instructions had been clear. No room for error. Room 112. Tell them Blanco sent you. Blanco had growled over the phone earlier. If there's no money, there's no deal. And if things get strange, you know what to do. Frank's jaw tightened. Blanco's threats were never idle, and he had a reputation for being unforgiving. His team's fate, and possibly his own, hinged on this deal. Yo, Frank, you good? Rico's voice broke the silence. In the back seat, Rico and Juan meticulously checked their weapons. Their movements were methodical, almost ritualistic, a stark contrast to the tension that gripped the car. The smell of gun oil mingled with the heavy atmosphere. Yeah, I'm good, Frank replied, his voice low but steady. This was it. Do or die. The suitcase on the passenger seat held an arsenal of silenced pistols, its metallic surface reflecting the neon glow of the city's underbelly. Blanco's threats loomed large. Failure meant death. The car roared to life, tires screeching as they sped toward the decrepit hotel. The shadows clung to them like a cloak of anonymity in a world where death wore many faces. Frank's mind raced with memories of past deals gone wrong, each one a reminder of how perilous this line of work could be. Inside the lobby, flickering fluorescent lights did little to dispel the gloom. Frank pushed through the revolving door, his team flanking him like silent phantoms. Gloria, the hotel manager, looked up from her desk. Her eyes, lined with years of weariness, narrowed at the sight of Frank. Room 112, Frank said, forcing a casual tone but unable to mask the undercurrent of tension. Blanco sent me. Gloria's expression was a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Frank noted the brief flicker of recognition, or fear, in her eyes. She nodded curtly and slid a key across the counter. Second floor, end of the hall, she said, her voice tight. Frank pocketed the key and motioned for his team to follow. As they climbed the creaking stairs, Blanco's words echoed in his mind. If things go south, make sure it's clean. The door to room 112 loomed ahead, a portal to potential carnage. Frank's pulse quickened, but he forced himself to focus. He had seen too many deals spiral into chaos to let his guard down now. Stay sharp, Frank whispered, his hand closing around the cold steel of his pistol. Inside, the room was dimly lit, the air heavy with the stench of cheap cologne and fear. Frank's eyes adjusted to the darkness, and he saw them. The Jamaican associates, their faces masks of suspicion and menace. The leader, a tall man with dreadlocks and an imposing presence, stood at the forefront. His eyes flicked to Frank's suitcase and then back to Frank. "We here for the deal," Frank announced, his voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through his veins. "Blanco sent me." The Jamaican leader stepped forward, his gaze piercing. "You got the money?" Frank nodded, feeling the weight of the suitcase. "Right here, let's see the product." As the Jamaicans revealed their goods, Frank's mind raced. Blanco's parting words echoed, "If things go south, make sure it's clean." The deal teetered on a knife's edge. Frank's gaze was unwavering, every muscle in his body tense and ready. One wrong move and this room would become a slaughterhouse. A faint click, a sound almost imperceptible, sent a jolt of panic through Frank's spine. His hand flew to his pistol, but it was too late. The room erupted in violence, gunfire tearing through the air. Frank's vision blurred as Rico and Juan returned fire, their silenced pistols spitting death. The Jamaicans fell one by one, their blood painting the walls. A bullet grazed Frank's arm, the pain sharp and immediate. On the floor, a Jamaican girl clutched her chest, blood oozing from the wound where Frank had shot her. Her cries filled the room, a haunting symphony of pain and fear. Frank's eyes locked onto hers, a cold determination setting in. He couldn't afford any loose ends. Without hesitation, he aimed his pistol and fired twice. The bullets hit their mark, silencing her cries with 2 precise headshots. Blood pooled around her lifeless body, a grim reminder of the cost of this deal. "Let's get the hell out of here," Rico shouted, his voice hoarse and urgent. Frank nodded, adrenaline coursing through his veins. They bolted from the room, sprinting down the hall and out of the hotel. The night air hit them like a wall, cold and unforgiving. Frank glanced back, a fleeting sense of relief mingling with the grim reality of their survival. They piled into the Centro, tires screeching as they tore down the street. Frank's heart pounded in his ears, his thoughts a chaotic whirl. They had survived, but the danger was far from over. Back at their hideout, Frank dumped the suitcase on the table, his hands trembling. He opened it, revealing stacks of cash and pristine bags of cocaine. Relief washed over him. Blanco would be satisfied. As Frank looked around at his team, he saw the toll the night had taken. Rico's face was pale, and Juan clutched his bleeding side. The cost of survival was steep, and the scars of the night's ordeal were evident. "We did it," Frank said, his voice hollow, the weight of the night's events pressing down on him. "We got the goods," Rico nodded, but his eyes were distant, haunted by the violence they had endured. "Yeah, but at what price?" Frank had no answer. In the world they lived in, death was always a breath away, lurking in the shadows. They had played the game and won, but the next hand was always waiting, the stakes higher than ever. As the first light of dawn broke, Frank knew one thing for sure. In this life, there were no guarantees, just deals and deceptions, with death as the only certainty.